time. I don't know why I can't get you out my mind.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, it's been a while. We got the relationship guy, y'all.
I am here. Man, it's so good to be back. It's good to be back. It's especially good to be back sharing space with you. I know I've been missing that for a while. I'm taking care of you.
Guess I let my feelings take control.
I am so excited to be back on tonight, and I am extremely excited because we got a hot topic. We got a good one, and you know what? If I was in retirement, okay, then this was gonna be the one to get me out of retirement. So and I'll tell you, for this month, in the tribe, we're gonna be talking about being equally yoked, correct?
Right.
But
Right.
tonight we're gonna be talking about something a little bit specific. We're gonna be talking about high functioning and low functioning men and women, how it looks in relationships. I already know that it's gonna be going. It's gonna be going. It's gonna start
Bam.
there, but who knows where it's gonna finish? Okay,
Yes.
because you know how we do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We go there.
We're gonna go there, and you know what? Tonight is not gonna be anything different. So
That's
once
right.
again, I want to welcome you guys. Thank you for joining tonight. My name is Eric Kirk, and I am the relationship guy. And you know who she is.
Oh, you know who I am. I'm Coach Tiffany.
That's Coach Tiffany in the flesh, man. We're gonna be talking about some stuff, and I say let's just jump into it, and
Oh, yeah.
and let's start with because if you're like me, you're trying to process the labels and the definitions, and you try you're hearing all these buzzwords. For the record, okay, for the record, man, I am anti buzzword because I think that I think all the labels kind of make things. I can understand the labels, I get all of that, but I also believe that it's easy for someone to label someone that's not correct, and all of a sudden you walking around with a label, and that label don't even fit you, but that's what somebody else perception of you, and I'm like, man, let's get away with the labels. Can I just be Eric tonight?
No, that's right. And, it kind of reminds you of it kind of gives you a feel of a social diagnosis when you
Yes, yes, yes.
when you hear
I mean,
about labels. You're
it's
a
like
narcissist.
exactly. Don't do
Toxic.
that. Don't you do it. Don't you set me up. You know how you know what up, man. Don't you set me up on that. Anything but that.
But
You know,
everybody's a narcissist.
everybody's a narcissist. And listen,
Everybody that's a man is a narcissist.
oh Lord, you done triggered me. That's another buzzword. I'm triggered. I'm officially triggered right now. I need to take a minute. Can I have 5? Because you just triggered me. And now, and we're finna bond over with that. What's another, a trauma bond? Oh man, it's so many. So listen, and I get it. I get it. But let's
Because it's
leave the
helpful.
labels to the professionals. Can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, because it is perfect. It is helpful to know where you are, because labels
Yes,
actually, when they're accurate, you know,
absolutely. And
is helpful.
I think that, I think you have to kind of move in that direction, just because. Uh, but I believe that you move in that direction for yourself, and
Yeah.
because I think there's a place where you have to do some soul searching, some self awareness. There's some things that I can really look at myself and say, you know what, I think I was part of a trauma bond. Or I can look at, at some point I can look at a relationship and say, you know what, I believe I was in a toxic relationship,
Mhm.
or whatever the case may be. But I think it's when you can do it to yourself, it's
Mhm.
definitely going to be more effective, because when other people do it, especially when it's not a professional, it's almost like a curse word.
Mhm. It's a social diagnosis.
It's a social diagnosis.
That's another buzzword. I
That's
just made that one up.
Well, you know what? I actually like that one because I can really get with that. So
Yeah.
let's start with the label. I mean, so I know you do your homework. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I
so
mean,
let's
when I
just start.
saw
Let's
this,
jump in
I
that
was
thing.
like, yeah, when I saw this video, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta talk to Eric about this because this is just, it's too hot. Gotta have your input on what Dr. Bryant has been talking to Cam Newton and Nick Cannon about, because she's pretty much called them out on all the, the baby mamas that they have, all the kids that they have. And she has presented this high functioning and low functioning people,
Absolutely.
and so I thought it was very interesting because, and I want your viewpoint on this, because I had to write some notes when she was on the video,
Yes,
and
you did have to write some notes.
I did. But she said the first thing I thought was very interesting. She said that a high functioning person says that I want you, but a low functioning person says that I need you.
Oh,
So
hold on.
she was
Let's stop right there. Say what you just said again.
that a high functioning person says I want you.
Okay.
A low functioning person says I need you.
A low functioning person says, I need you.
Mhm.
Okay. See, I'm processing it. Okay.
Mhm.
Because, now, I think that I am a high functioning person,
Mhm.
but I don't have a problem saying to my significant other, saying, you know what, I need you. But
Mhm.
if I go off this label, then I'm low functioning
Right, exactly. Based upon the label. Yeah.
based upon the label. And one of the things that and we definitely need to get through your notes, but I wanted to share this because one of the things that made me think about this, and I thought about the fact that God designed us to need each other.
Yeah.
There's a word in Hebrew, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce it. It's called Ezra Nida.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Say it again.
Ezra, like Ezar, Ezra Nida. And I can do a whole lot better explaining to you what it means than I can pronouncing it. I can't
Okay.
pronounce English well, so I definitely don't want to try Hebrew. But that word literally means the counterpart, and the exact counterpart, and basically when you look at and look that word up, but when you look at it, this is when God said, I'm going to create you a helper, a helpmate. That word helper, in the original Hebrew is the Ezra Nigdal, and that literally means the counterpart, the exact counterpart. And when you go and explore that word, there is no place where you're going to be looking at a woman as less than the man. But I think, ironically, I think it's fascinating to know that when God created man, and we're going to say, according to the scripture, that he created man first. And then when
Right.
he created man, he says, listen, in order for you, Eric, to be the best that you can be, you're going to need help. And then he
Mhm.
created woman.
Mhm.
When I look at that, Tiffany, I say, you know what? I needed her. I need her.
Mhm.
And so and this is why I want to be real careful. If anybody followed me and at any length of time, you know that I believe in the simplicity. We can make things a whole lot complicated. But I do believe that if we go back to the beginning, if we go back to when it was the simplest, form, then you're gonna find that God had an exact plan, and He said, "Listen, I created man, I created woman, I paired them together for a reason. Okay. And that, if I did not need woman, if woman did not need man, then how was we going to go move forward and produce?
Right.
We
Yeah.
need each other.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let you go on with your labels.
She's so fun. But I did look at, since you said look up the word counterpart, I did
Okay.
look up the word counterpart, and let me my eyes.
Uh-oh.
It says a person or thing holding a position or performing a function that corresponds to that of another person or thing in another place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what you're saying in regards to a man and a woman. You know, they just have different functions. They're just in a different.
I'm going to let me see if I can look this up.
A similar function or position in a different place.
Uh-oh. Say what you just said again.
See, you didn't, see, I had a person or thing holding a position or performing a function that corresponds to that of another person or thing in another place.
Okay, that's good, and I think when as we develop this, being equally yoked throughout this month, and how we deal with starting this thing out, laying the foundation of the high functioning and low function and how that's going to look in the relationship. Is it something that we need? Is it necessary? Is it something that actually hinders the relationship? I think all of that needs to be looked at, needs to be explored. But I think we have to have a foundation, or ground zero that we'll be able always be able to go back and say, no matter how I process this information, I have to go back with the foundation that God created us to need each other. He created us for a purpose, and I do believe that as time goes on, we start, life happens, and we start, going away from God, and the more we go away from God, the more we feel that we don't need Him. And when you don't need Him, you don't need His word. When you don't need His word, then you're going to walk away from His ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that again.
Okay. Yeah, but that was good.
But you understand, and so we have to have this foundation, this ground zeros, to where that that my pastor call it a moral compass. So we'll be able to go back, to where it'll ground us and say, no matter how this thing plays out, man, God had a purpose, a design for us. Okay. And so do you explore the high function? And I'll say this too. When I look at, high function and low function, I look at it and I say, you know what, that's another word for, functional and dysfunctional, and especially when you start working it into a relationship, because let's face it, when you're by yourself, the labels don't matter.
Oh yeah.
How can you be dysfunctional by yourself?
You can, but nobody's telling you about it.
Nobody's telling you about it. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter. You're on the island by yourself. You are the only person that matters, because nobody else is there, because you're literally by yourself. So that dysfunction really means as it relates to this other person that you're in relationship with, you're you're dysfunctional because of the relationship is not right.
Right, right.
So
Or it can be it can be according to their perspective.
their
You
perspective.
know, I mean, their perspective of dysfunction could be dysfunction,
And
depending
now
on their
and,
experience.
and that's where that what you call a social diagnosis.
Social social diagnosis. Yeah.
That's where that comes in at, because see now, because when I was by myself, I mean, just imagine this. Imagine you are a single man or a single woman, and you're in life is golden. You're having the best time of your life, best years of your life. Everything is great. Great job, great relationship with the family. Everything is great. Then you meet the other, you meet your new person, and now all of a sudden things don't work. And you're all of a sudden labeled low functioning, dysfunction. What happened? What happened?
Everyone's gonna tell you the truth. Well, but you know what? I honestly believe that we are different people to everybody.
Yes.
So I think at the core, we're the same person. You know, I believe I'm loving to everyone that's in my life, but
Absolutely.
I am going to have a different role, a different position, different behaviors with my children, versus my siblings, versus my parents, versus my partner, so I think that partner kind of brings out, just like I've said before, it's like a mirror. That person is closest to you all the time. So they're always going to tell you the things that you don't see. And most time a lot of people aren't going to tell you.
And
Or they might not even see, because they're
because
seeing a different part of you.
it's because it is a different part, and because it's a different part, you may not even show that to
Right.
there's a part that you're showing your mate that you'll never show your mom or your dad or your siblings.
Right.
So I get that. When you was talking, I thought about that narcissist. Now, and I'm not a professional, but wouldn't that narcissist be a narcissist 100% of the time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
It would
so
just be in a relationship.
exactly. So how can this narcissist have a great relationship with mom and dad and his brothers and sisters and his children, but when it comes to his counterpart, he's a narcissist?
That's social diagnosis.
That's social diagnosis. I mean, at its finest.
And it's fine. It's yeah.
So those are the things that we really have to be cautious with. That because I know this is going to be a powerful month. This is going to be a month that I believe in all my heart that that if you stay with this program, the tribe in this month, because I think on the
Next
16th,
Monday, the 16th.
the
Yeah.
16th.
Yeah.
Trevay is going to be coming up. You guys, you definitely don't want to miss Trevay. She's going to be talking more specifically about being
Equally yoked and
Yeah,
unequally yoked. Yep.
yes.
And she's gonna tear that up.
She's going to tear it up, and it's going to be some life changing things. So it's going to be very vital that that if you want to be free, this is the month that you're going to get free. This is the month. This is a breakthrough month, and this is going to happen through you guys getting plugged in, in the tribe. So we're talking about this high function and this low function. Now you started out talking about the needs and the wants and all that. I stopped you because you hear the buzzword for me. But go ahead and continue what you were saying.
Okay. Some of the other things that she was saying. Okay, when I give I guess the characteristics of the person, just think of like I'll talk about the low functioning person, but just imagine whatever that particular characteristic is, the high functioning person is going to be complete opposite. So for example, she mentioned that a low functioning person, they have no self-awareness. So that means a high functioning person, they have self-awareness. The low functioning person, they have no emotional regulation. Of course, the high functioning person, they know how to regulate their emotions. They have emotional intelligence. The low functioning person, they choose people who enjoy drama and will participate in the drama with you.
Right.
But the high functioning person, they will deter from drama. They know how to pivot in different situations, so things won't escalate. A low functioning person, they don't take responsibility for their actions. But of course, the high functioning person, they hold themselves accountable. And the low functioning person, they're dependent on their partner for emotional and financial needs. I know, I thought that was interesting. But the high functioning person, they're independent. So that's what I gathered from the interview that she had. And I thought it was just very interesting, some of the characteristics that was being brought out, especially with the high functioning and the low functioning, because I could see a lot of times we can operate in what she calls low function.
Right.
Because we're not perfect, we're human.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's a point where we can be more high functioning or healthy, because that's how I look at it, healthy and unhealthy.
I think that's another good way of looking at it, healthy and unhealthy, functional and dysfunctional, I think it's all saying the same thing, just, it's using different words. And I don't have, that's okay, but because, you may be in an era where, high functioning, low functioning just makes sense to you. With me at my age, I mean, you can, I'm good with, some the other, I mean, I mean, I'm okay because, but it's all the same,
Right.
and I don't think we have to get caught up in that, but understanding how it's going to show up is to me is more important.
Definitely.
With and when it shows up, how is it going to affect you? What does it look like? When a high functioning, low functioning, have to intertwine. But here's the deal, and low functioning tends to attract low
Low
function.
function. Right.
Okay. So high function tends to attract high function. Am I right so far? Okay. So
that's what we believe, because you attract who you are.
who you are. Okay. So it's important to understand, because we are in this real world, to identify when you are a high functioning person, and for whatever reason you find yourself in relationship with a low functioning person.
But is that realistic though?
I believe it's realistic, and I believe that because if the high functioning person is not saying that I will not be in a relationship with a low functioning person, is really saying that I'm not going to allow myself to behave low functioning. I know how to regulate myself. I know when the relationship is going to a place, then that's not beneficial. I know how to step back and not partake in it. Which kind of brings me to another point. that you can have a low functioning moment,
Yeah, oh, definitely. Or moments.
moments,
Should I
because
be a low functioning season?
you could be in a low functioning season, and I like that too. I'm in a low function season in my life right now. You know, but what happened, because sometimes, people just bring out the worst in you. Sometimes you find yourself, you say, man, why? Have you ever been in a situation where you found yourself arguing with somebody and then you was mad because you engaged in that argument, and you're
Oh, yeah.
like, I, you know, why did I even give them that time of day? Because you realize that, hey, I am a high functioning person in general, but I allowed myself to behave low functional, because for that season, for that moment, and that's how they kind of intertwine and interact with each other, because you have to recognize when you're about to, or when you in that state of low functioning. And I would say that even a low functioning person can have those rare moments of high function, because they're not going to be low functioning in every aspect of their life. Case in point, in a relationship with the opposite sex, they can be very low functioning. In relationship with their kids, they can be very high functioning. You see, and once again, that's why I want, as we kind of unfold this thing, we have to be careful, because we want to give a permanent label on somebody. When I just don't believe that you can just totally, socially diagnose somebody, and say, okay, you are 100% low function. And the exact opposite. You cannot say a person is 100% high function. Because
it kind of reminds me of somebody, of someone who's a good partner, but might not be a good father or a good mother, or vice versa. They could be a good parent, but not a good partner.
That's
So I guess
exactly right.
that's an example of high functioning, low functioning.
I can give stories upon stories of men that I have talked to, that they were, for the sake of the conversation, let's say they were excellent fathers. They were horrible mates, but because they were horrible mates, that ex wanted to put them in a box and say, you're just a horrible person, therefore you don't even deserve to have your kid. You see, and once again, I keep saying this, but this is what. See, I know this can be a show real easy where we just talk about dysfunction and functioning people, or low function and high function. We can talk about that all day, but I didn't want this to be that type of show. I wanted it to be, I want you to understand what you're really dealing with, because if we made it that black and white, then we're going to continue to hurt people.
Yeah.
You agree? We're going to continue to hurt, and I just believe that, and we talked about this the other day too, about the circle and the square. And see, in relationship, what we have done in the past, and a lot of us can admit to this, if you want to be honest, you identified as a circle, but you was in relationship with a square, and you kept trying to make those pieces fit, and they never will fit. And the old scenario said that, okay, I'm this circle, this square is a bad person because they did not fit with me. But see, what I want to do, Tiffany, is I want to have a conversation where we talk about, what? First, let's just agree that the circle and the square shouldn't have been together. You see? I mean, can't we just all just get along? I mean, so the problem was You were trying to make a relationship fit where it really did fit. So what I want to do is move forward and say, you know what? Listen, instead of blaming someone, instead of because let's be honest, when we go through a bad relationship, our human nature tells us that the reason why I feel the way I feel, it must be because he or she is a villain. There's the bad guy. I have to
somebody have to be to blame, but not me.
somebody has to be to blame because surely it wasn't me.
Right.
And the problem is you're right. It wasn't you. You were a circle, and you was the best circle that a circle could be. The problem was you was trying to be in a relationship with a square. And you don't need to blame the square for being a square.
Mhm.
You see, and now all of a sudden the square is labeled dysfunctional. No, the square is just a square. The square was fine, and he didn't even know he had a problem. As a matter of fact, let me just change that. The square didn't have a problem. The square don't have a problem because the square could go to another relationship right after you, get in a relationship with another square, and be happily ever after. Have you ever seen a situation where somebody could have been in a relationship for some years and never married, and then all of a sudden, 6 months after they leave this one relationship, they marry, like, and like that. And a lot of times you say, oh, he must have been cheating or she must have been cheating because no, I'm not saying that it is never that case, but I do know that it's a scenario where you can say, now that person always wanted to be married. Deep down, they knew that they was trying to make something fit that wasn't supposed to fit. And then 6 months later, or whatever the case may be, they found their mate. They found their equal counterpart. And it was real simple for them to say, you know what, I'm gonna marry you because it felt right. Every time he or she was trying to make that square fit into that circle, they got hurt. And see, that hurt is what we call dysfunctional. That hurt is what we call toxic. That hurt is what we call, trauma bond, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times we call them narcissists. But but really and truly, you're just trying to make somebody fit in the place they shouldn't have been.
Yeah. But I think there's also some times where we do have some unresolved issues that need to be addressed of dysfunction.
Yeah, because nobody's perfect.
Exactly. And if we're not aware of what those things are, then we will just go from relationship to relationship and trying to figure out, what's wrong with everybody else but me.
Right. There's a place where you have to deal with the accountability. You have to deal with that. And this is where the healthy part comes in at, because if I always said this, I can tell a person what level of dysfunction or level of hurt or that they in on how they describe their past relationship. As long as if I'm having a conversation with you and you're constantly saying that this person, hurt you and they was the sole reason for the demise of the relationship, I know you're not in a healthy place. Because what I do know is no matter how bad that person was, there's no way that he or she were 100% the reason. No way, and I know that's hard to believe, but this is what I want you guys to understand. Even if everybody agrees with you and says that person was 100% the reason why, what I want you to do is take some time and do some self-awareness, even if that's true. And I promise you, you're gonna come out of this thing far better by sitting back and saying, you know what, I know he or she wasn't the best mate, but at the very least, you can ask yourself, why did you entertain that square for so long and you know that you're a circle? What's wrong with me? Why did I do that? See, at that point, you can look back at yourself and and see that, yeah, it's some accountability on my part because I entertained that joker for so long. Was there do you have separation issues? Do you have dependency issues? What is wrong with you? And those are the times where you can sit back and you can actually grow and be better for your next relationship, even if 100 people agree that, yep, that, he or she was the problem. Hey, she was perfect, but we can't give you 100%. I can't do it. Now other people can, but I won't give you 100%. You know why? Because I want you to grow. And the only way that you can grow is when you take some self examination and accountability, even if that accountability is your part in trying to make this relationship fit when you should have known that it would never fit.
Yeah, I completely agree. I did a post that said lessons aren't learned without self-reflection. And I mean, because you just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, because you'll never look inward to find out, okay, what is it about me that needs to change or needs to evolve in that area? Why do I keep going through this same? But if I never get to that point, then I'm just gonna keep on. That lesson is gonna be it's gonna keep being taught to me because I'm never gonna learn it, until I'm actually learn it.
Now I totally agree. You would never learn it. You're destined to repeat it over and over again, and that's another cycle, that can afflict you, and keep you from having a healthy relationship, So do I understand the labels? I do. I think the best uses of the labeling is when I can self-reflect and then label myself.
Yeah.
With the sole purpose of identifying a place that needs help, identifying a place that I need to, when I said that, I thought about Nehemiah in the Bible. You know the Bible. Right? You believe
the greatest book of all time.
Did you make Christ the head of your life? Okay. So I thought about Nehemiah that wanted to repair the walls of Jericho, and I remember in the passage where it talks about how they were some translations say there were gaps in the wall. Some say holes in the wall, depending on translation you read. But let's say that there were holes in the wall that Nehemiah wanted to repair. And the reason why that he needed those holes repaired, those gaps repaired, is because the enemy was using those holes and those gaps to get down to get through the wall of Jericho. So he said, I must fortify this wall. I must strengthen this wall. And this is the message that I want the listeners to get is that there's some gaps in your life. There's some holes that the enemy is using to get in and wreak havoc in your life. And in order for you to be the best you that you can be, you're going to have to identify where those holes are, and you're going to have to go and you're going to have to make them strong. You have to fortify them, and it's gonna start with you doing that homework, that self-awareness. Man, you're gonna have to get to a point where you're not even worried about what he or she did to you. That is not your problem. That is so not your problem. Your problem is, why did I allow this to happen? Why did I allow it? What was wrong with me? What was I thinking about? What was I going through? When I knew that he did it the first time, why did I let it happen the second time and the third time? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And see, when you can do that, and this is why we dealing with this low function and high function, because right there you're gonna see that this is a person that had a season of low functioning behavior, but the minute they started the self-awareness, they all of a sudden that frequency started building up. Because when you break down the high functioning and low functioning, all is how do you perceive a thing?
Right.
How are you looking at it, and how are you going to assess it, and what are you going to do about it? Because see now, when I was in this season of low functioning, my mind wasn't clear.
Right.
I was accepting some things that I shouldn't been accepting. So, but now that I see clearly now, I'm operating on a higher frequency.
Right.
I'm functioning it, and now I can fix some things.
Right. Yeah, that was so good. I tell you, I wish I was taking notes. And I hope everybody else is taking notes too. Because I tell you, you're dropping some gems, some things that we really gotta consider, not just in our romantic relationships, but just in our regular relationships. Because sometimes I feel like we can accept things that are low functioning in other relationships, that aren't romantic relationships. But just because they're family, or just because they've been our friend for so long, we've accepted some things. And so
at your job, your coworkers, you can same way. You can operate
not
low
speaking up for
functioning.
yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
That every time somebody call in, they call you to cover that shift. Why? Because they know that you're gonna say yes. That's low functioning.
Yeah.
You know that, and so low functioning can operate in so many areas, and so I think that it's important that we understand that everybody can have a low functioning moment. Okay. Can we say that I can understand somebody having a low functioning season? But however we look at it, whether it's a moment in time, whether it's a season, however we look at it, you can't stay in low function.
That's right.
However it is. So my question to you is, how do you get out of that season? How do you get out of that place of low functioning when you actually are in it? How do you get out of it?
It's definitely that self. So you asking me?
Yes.
Oh,
I threw you on the spot
it's
I
that
told you
time
we
of
was going to evolve.
self-reflection. It's that time of sex. I mean, I know how I've gotten out of low functional situations. It is that time of self-reflection.
Yeah.
That helps you, and really taking time to think about, okay, what is it that I'm doing in this moment? What am I thinking in this moment? What am I saying in this moment? And who am I right now? Just becoming aware of who I am, who I'm being, who I want to be, not necessarily who I am. So, and then taking that next step to say, okay, in order for me to be who I want to be, this is what I need to do. You know, these are the steps I need to take. So self-reflection, self-awareness, and taking action.
Yeah.
To move forward.
You know, that reminds me of, I know they're off subject, but I teach this in my in one of my classes. Who are you? Where you been, and where you. Those are the three things that I wanted my students to understand. Who are you? You know, who is Tiffany? You know, I mean, how would you describe yourself? Then I wanted to know where have you been? Tell me about yourself. You know, and then after we had that conversation, where are you going? Where are you going? What's your plans? You know, because see, when you start dealing with those three areas, and see, a lot of times, you know, people want to say, "Oh, who am I?" That's easy.
Right.
Can you describe yourself without relating yourself to somebody else? Denise mother.
Right. Sometimes we can't, you know, especially when we have not done any type of self-reflection or don't have any self-awareness, because we don't know who we are. We just know who we are to other people.
Exactly.
You know, most time people say, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, you know, they're talking about roles, but not necessarily who they are.
And then you're gonna throw in, you know, your job. This is what I do at my job. You're gonna do all of those things, you know, but you hadn't even answered the question yet.
Yeah.
Who are you? You see, you know, and I told you that we was gonna evolve. That's and we first we just evolved. But I'll bring it back down. I'll bring it back.
This is good, because that's homework for everybody. That is homework. That's homework. Yes. Everybody find out who they are, where they been, and where they going.
Yeah. And that's it. You know, they can do their homework, or they can sign up for my class, 30 days to you know, I can't be giving you my material like that. No, I'm just kidding. But that's good homework, you know, and I say, you know what, let's pose that question and try, you know, and just see, you know, I mean, we're gonna just start with who are you, you know, and see how that's answered, because I have seen many people break down just because how hard that question is, you know, how hard it is, you know, but the reason why that's so important, and you were saying it, that, you know, I'm like, oh man, she's right on it, you know, because if we don't have a proper understanding of who we are, then it's going to be very easy to fall into this dysfunction over and over again.
That's the truth.
You know?
Yeah. And we're not going to know how to get out of it.
Because
that's all we know. You know, that's all we know is dysfunction.
It's going to be real close to saying, why should I even attempt to get out of it?
Right.
Because I know nothing else but this dysfunction.
Right. And then we spend so long people telling us who we are and not knowing who we are.
Yeah, I mean, see, there it is, right there. There it is. Man, you know, do you know how sad it is for a person, for social media to diagnose you, and you're talking to a person that don't even really know who they are? Now, I don't know who I am, but you gonna label me, and you only know me on social media.
Right.
That's damaging.
Oh yeah.
You see,
and then you're gonna believe it because you don't know
who I am.
Right. And then you're like, well, maybe I am. Maybe
I am. That's it. That's where I was heading. Because because now all of a sudden the image and the thoughts of other people has infiltrated you.
Mhm.
Okay, I gotta do that. I gotta talk.
Oh, uh-oh. Should have had you some water.
I know. Okay.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
You know, when I was growing up, you know, I'm Pentecostal, so anything happen, you on a roll about something, it's the devil.
That
But we
old
apply the
devil. He knew it was getting too good, and he attacking my voice. You know.
That's right. Everything the devil. The devil in that chair. It's the devil in your throat.
The devil wouldn't let you play that video.
Yep, the devil let me play the video.
Well, I rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus.
That's right.
Give me my voice back.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
but I
that
think
was something.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I
I was
think
just saying how good it was.
I think we got we laid a good foundation.
Yes.
Now, what did we leave out though? What is it that the people, before we end this thing up, what is it that the tribe need to know when it comes to functioning? Being low functioning and high functioning. Um, what is it that we miss?
Well, I think in summer and I guess in overall, um, they should know that even though, you know, these labels do exist, we don't have to be these labels.
Mm.
You know, I mean, yes, high functioning it sounds good. Low functioning, it don't sound too good. But just like you said, who are you?
Who are you? Yeah.
I mean, you're not a label. You know, you're not what someone else has said you are. But
Can I pose another question to you?
mhm.
Is there a place where two low functioning people can have a productive relationship?
I don't know. I mean, based on definition, will it really be productive?
So here's my thought, and this is what it just hit me, and I think this is something that I really do believe that the listeners need to hear. And let's say that this has nothing to do with the question, or you can let it answer the question if you want to, but just let me say it, okay? Because I believe
Mhm.
it hit my spirit, and I believe that we need to talk about it. In order to have a healthy relationship, there's really one requirement that you need. But I'm going to answer this. I'm going to give you a quick story too. Some years back, you know, I wanted to learn to play the saxophone, and you know, so I actually got a saxophone as a gift, Christmas gift, and you know, so you know, we headed out to probably one of the premier teachers in the area. And I remember the first day of the lessons, I remember sitting down in the studio, and he asked me this question. He said, "Eric, are you going to be playing in a band, or are you going to be playing solo?" Now that threw me off. It threw me way off. So I had to ask a question. I said, and I now honestly, I risk sounding stupid, but because he asked that question, I didn't know what to do. I said, "What difference does it make?" He said, "If you're playing in a band, I'm gonna have to teach you the steps of tuning your instrument to fit in with the other people in the band." He said, but if you're solo, it doesn't matter. And now that was the best relationship advice I have ever got. And I'm gonna tell you why, because this is what he was saying. When you are in relationship with others, you're gonna have to learn how to harmonize, to be productive and healthy in that relationship. When you're by yourself, it don't even matter. So that thing that it, why I asked that question about, can two low functioning people you have a healthy relationship? I was answer that and say, as long as they are in agreement, as long as because when they come into agreement and they they going to create in what we call in the music industry harmony. You see,
There'll be some drama.
It's gonna be some drama, but people can connect over the drama.
I guess so. I just don't want to be in though.
Right, because and see that's important because
to know where you are.
You know where you are. You see, you see where you on the outside, and that's one of the things that we have to be careful with, because on the outside you can look at them and say they're very toxic. But why they still together though?
Because they toxic.
they have came to an agreement.
Right.
I share this with you too. And I know I get a lot of slack when I say this, so make sure y'all send Tiffany all that hate mail. And I'm a real believer. I'm a believer in Christ. Listen, yes, I am. So don't be mad when I say this, and don't question my Christianity. But I'm saying, you don't need Christ to have a successful relationship. And I'm gonna tell you, I have met people who flat out are atheists, non-believers, whatever you want to call, but they have productive, healthy relationships. I ain't talking about them getting to heaven. Okay, I'm just talking about how they relate to each other. It's prosperous. They're together. They're happy. If they're maybe we can look it up, but we know that the church is not doing a good job staying together.
Yeah. And
I wonder if there's some stats we can pull up and compare it to non-believers. At the very, very, very worst, I would say it's equal. So you can't say that we're doing a better job than them. But what if the stats say that it's better? You see, which I don't know. But what I do know is that in order to have a successful relationship, you need harmony. You need the agreement. You need to be on the same page. All of that saying the same thing. You see? And what happens is in relationships is that we're still trying to fit that square into that circle. It ain't happening.
Yeah. You got to have the power too.
You said it. Yeah, you said it. And we'll add my website, to that. Okay. www.power2x.com.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, that's
enjoy it tonight.
Well, you know what? I said if I was gonna do a show, if I was gonna come back, man, I had to do a show with you. You make it so much easier, and there's so much pleasure, and I appreciate
it. I appreciate it. I'm glad to see you on the screen.
Yes, it's good to be here, and
I'm sure everybody else will be excited to see you too.
Yes, and I am. I'm looking forward to doing some other things. I do want to say that I do have a new book that's going to be coming out too. It's part of the Power of Two series, but it's going to be dealing with dating. You know, I realized that although the Power of Two was definitely heaven sent, definitely came from the throne, but power of dating is gonna be so impactful because the revelation that I had is that we can't get to the power that we have in marriage until we understand how to properly date. And in that book, I'm gonna break it down, baby.
I know you are.
It
I
down.
know, because I tell you, when you talk about that circle and that square, I tell you, to me, that's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and that is where that's where it just started making sense to me. You know,
Mm.
I'm gonna break down the three phases of dating. They really the three phases of life and the three phases of of marriage. All of it really kind of intertwines together. But I'm gonna take you through the that beginning. I that that I just met you and I call it that non-committal stage, that stage where you just getting to know each other. What should you expect? And listen, I'm gonna stop there because I can tell you that I see right there is where I see the biggest problem is because you are expecting things in the beginning of the relationship that you should not expect. And in that book, I'm going to tell you flat out, don't expect anything.
Mm.
Don't expect anything. If I'm going out on the date, I expect him to pay? No.
Yes.
see, that's why you get your feelings hurt.
Yes.
Okay, now, so here's because that's legit, because you do expect him to pay, but
Right.
you should be prepared for him what? Not to pay.
And then he'll prepare for me to walk out the door.
Right. That is that
High
for me,
functioning.
that's high function. And I was gonna say that's the perfect end of a date. Because that part, my whole purpose was to get to know you.
That's
And you
right.
showed me exactly who you are. So that was a perfect date.
We didn't get to know, we didn't got to know each other before the date.
Well, you know what? Anytime that you can get those red flags collected and out the way before you get married is a good deal. You know what I'm saying? It's a good deal. So the whole point is, what we're doing is getting married and then we start finding red flags. No, I need to start seeing red flags day one. And what we normally do is ignore them during the beginning. And what I want to do is teach you how to look for them day one.
Yeah, because we be like, well, it kind of look orange, so it's not really red.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? Really? Was it crystal or red? I mean, I
A
look
little
at
pink.
red. Yeah, but no, it's if it yeah, it's a.
Well,
Let
I
me say
definitely look
red.
forward to it. If we gonna be blasting it out in the tribe, once it's coming up. I hopefully you're gonna do like a pre-lunch or something, and
I
you know,
definitely will.
we can definitely order it ahead of time, and so definitely look forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, man, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank Tiffany for co-hosting with me. And listen, I can't wait to the next time. But definitely on the 16th, that would be the next show, right? You know what? Matter of fact, close us out. And do you have the schedule for after the 16th?
That's it. Just Q&A with Trevay.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
Q&A today on the 16th, and she's going to talk about equally yoked and unequally yoked relationships. So definitely tune in to that.
Man,
It's
I'm
gonna be
excited. Every
good.
time I hear that, I get excited.
I
And
know.
that's good. So, thank you guys. Once again, my name is Eric Kirk. I'm the relationship guy. This is Coach
Tiffany,
Tiffany. I want
founder
to
of
say
Teach Me Tribe.
Man, listen, until next time, man, you guys be good, be productive, and just know, man, the tribe is here for you guys. Ask your questions, and we do our best to answer.
See y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
I've been wasting my time. I don't know why I can't get you out my mind. Guess I let my feelings take control.